Ouch. It looks like gap ups are still for selling, and this is really bad. Wait, this is a simple chart. Yes, that's exactly the point. A simple line chart pointing down. And yes, stocks are green today, but we have to remember the reason why we're higher and whether or not there's technical evidence that we could actually go higher or lower. More lines or more information on the chart does not always necessarily make the story simpler. If we look here to the last 4 hours, it's the same thing as me telling you that sell the rip. That's a full candle. Out of the last roughly 7 here, we have one hollow candle, which means we made an advance on only one of the last 7 days. I have a lot of really simple charts to go through with you a little bit later, but really at a high level, there might be a little bit of panic, or maybe it's totally fine. Right now, CEOs have not been this gloomy going back to the financial crisis. Huh? Financial crisis? That's right. So Trump's like, hey, all in, call. So what does he do? He's saying he might be looking to de-escalate, considering slashing those. So, phew, right? Thank God we just cooled off before the next big rally, right? That's right, salmons. Here's the 10-year chart. This is the one that made Trump blink, and it's higher on the week. This is really important. Here is the one-day chart for the S&P as well. It just basically shows you that at the downtrend, or where we would expect sellers, we got our open. We pushed up, and we sold off. This 536 area is really important. We can also see that here with really elevated volume, like it's huge, right? It's very heavy. And we can see the open and close from the first day after liquidation day. So note, we still have a gap up to 554. That would be all the way to here. That's a liberation day or liquidation day. Looking at a volume profile too, what do we note? There's a lot of pockets of supply here. That's right. So we got to chew through this zone before we get to the median at 560. This might be an easier way to look at the price instead of looking at by time. And then finally, like it shows you here, what do we have? Lower highs and lower lows, which lead to what? Lower highs and lower lows until proven otherwise. Right now, Trump is seeming a little bit anxious. Maybe we get a deal, maybe we don't. And I think this is one of the most important ones. So right now he's blaming Zelensky again. Why? Because he said that you're not going to, like, you need to give away Crimea and all the other things. It's not my place to say what should go where. All I know is that this is what's causing it right now. I encourage you to look into it more if you want. A very simple way of saying this is that there's a reason why peaches became the icon in the U.S. Southeast. That's right, maybe over in Washington. Here are the notes for today. We had a yellow light going into yesterday because 1 times higher low and higher high. Now we have 2 times higher low and higher highs. But like that doesn't mean like all systems are go. It means technically speaking, in the last 3 candles, which is how we form a pattern, what do we have? Low, higher low, higher low. Yeah, they're very higher lows. This staircase of support doesn't seem all that strong. It seems a little bit shaky. But hey, if we go for the upside gap now, that'd be up here to 554. And then we can flag out and find out what happens, like that volume profile suggested, right? To get up to 560, we already know that's like it's going to be a tough challenge here. On the flip side, if all we do is respect the downtrend, this is going to happen no later than the 7th of May. And we can go through and look at the calendar a little bit later to find out the reasons why. But like I showed you at the very beginning, a line chart can smooth things out. So if a simple line chart cannot show you what's happening, how does looking all this really help you? Right? These are candlesticks, which means you get 4 data points. You get the open, the close, right? That forms the body, and then the wick. Sometimes you have a very big wick. Sometimes you have a small wick. So the upper wick signifies the high of the range. The lower wick signifies the lower of the range. And this signifies the open and the close. So for me, I focus a lot on open and closes, like I showed you here a minute ago. What's the reason why? Because that's where most liquidity happens, at the open and the close. So right here, again, open and close is what I'm highlighting. That's the range on the day. We opened up above it, went higher, tagged it. So when people are like, oh my God, if only I can get my money back from liquidation day, from the day after, not the day before, that would be 560. They're like, yeah, I'm getting my money. I'm out of here. That's exactly what this shows us, right? Hit the pocket of supply, boop. Where are we going to back off to? Well, again, a gap fill tells you it's right there. If we fill the gap, we should bounce. So more information does not necessarily make the story simpler. So here's the notes. We have 2 times higher lows and higher highs, but we have 2 gaps, 554, 529. If in doubt, defer to the weekly note. So what does a weekly note say? reduce noise and focus on levels. Oh, that seems easy. And what I'm going to do right now is just go log into our platform, and I'm just going to show you what the football says right now. So we've done all of them. What does that mean? Engulfing candle. We got a touchdown by the Bears. We got a touchdown by the Bulls, and that's very easy to see on the chart here. So if we go here to a weekly chart, what do we have? An engulfing candle. What's an engulfing candle? The range from the previous candle has been taken out. So the range from low to high, we've now formed a lower low or broke the range. We engulfed the previous range to the downside and also to the upside. That's an engulfing candle. I'm going to ask you for a favor. If you could please consider smashing that thumbs up or subscribing to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. So what does that mean? It means at one point during the week, both the Bulls and the Bears were correct. Huh? We had a lower low at one point during the week, and we were below it, and then we weren't. Oh, and then we also had a higher high, and we were above it, but now we're not. So what does that mean? It means yellow light. We'll come back to that in a moment. So let's close a few things out here. What does the weekly note say? As of last week's close, we are bearish until proven otherwise. Watch the inside bar break for short-term direction. I just told you we broke it to both up and downside. So what do we do? If we can't do it this week on the relief headline and an inside bar and 3 mega pumps, and then, oh my God, we're going to fold to China. He's like, well, yeah, fold. It's like, oh no, he called me. Yeah, okay. Guess I'm going home. Right? And he's like, yeah. It's America first, but not America only. Cool. Well, the market voted, and this is what we did into the afternoon. So the gap up was nice, but it was for selling, like gap ups normally are. We look here to QQQ, and oh my God, this chart needs relief. And that's what we got, a relief rally. All right, so now let's push forward here. Those are your key dates. Monthly says we have to hold 548 into next Wednesday to get a failed breakdown. So not to overcomplicate it, there was a lot we got through today. South Korea meeting in Washington, Boeing earnings, which were better than expected. G20 meeting, we'll leave that until tomorrow. And then we got GOO. And then we got Canadian election, Australian election, auto part tariffs take effect. Oh my God, there's lots going on. There is lots going on. FOMC meeting. That's right, Jerome, you better cut the rates. All right, not going to fire you, but you better cut the rates. So going forward, what's really important is that you don't get decision fatigue. You're not going to make a million good decisions. So the more you make, the lower the quality. So choose the ones accordingly. I'm going to show you this one more time because it's really important. Ask yourself where you are in this cycle, because the point of maximum financial risk is at the top. It doesn't mean the risk is gone when you go down. It means your window of opportunity is gone to sell at the top. And then you're going to want to sell where people like me want to buy. There's a contraction. Oh, so remember, some people have already sold. Got to ask yourself, what are your goals versus other people's goals? If your goals are more short-term and you're going to say, I shoulda, woulda, coulda, well, you should manage the risk now. We've talked about making a plan, and you really got to do that. This seems increasingly likely. Look at where we closed today. 535. Okay. Well, I warned you at 538. And this is when the chart actually looked a lot better. Closing at or near the high of the candle. We were due for continuation. We didn't get it. So we're lower than where I warned you on April 16th. So what does that mean? Be prepared for what could happen next, because if I've been right so far and we get supporting evidence it could continue, we have to be mindful of that. All right. Isn't that a nice little story? All right, heat map is currently red for the afternoon. Let's go. Let's push forward here, right? I fold, right? Oh no, I don't have all the cards. No, you don't. Trump, the EU, and China ripping off the US. That was like right after he finished talking. He's like, no, they're ripping us off. What does that mean? You are right here. Market rallies temporarily on news. No progress is made. Why? Because look, he literally told you, no, they're ripping us off. But then was like, oh, I guess I'm eating my words. It's been 10 minutes. And then he's like, actually, there is no unilateral U.S. offer to cut tariffs on China. Oopsies. Oops. This is likely going to go on for years. So if you don't like the ride, get off the ride. It is not going to change. What's going to happen is eventually the fight's going to be over. But like I literally just told you, right? Trump's like, no, they're ripping us off. Ripping the U.S. off. So right now, Trump is landing blows and they're landing fast, and Xi hasn't flinched. And he may start turning the tide. Why? Hey, he's not doing nothing. He's like, man, we got all the cards. He's like, no, please, all in. All in. You don't got the cards. Call. So what could happen next into round 5, which is where we are right now? So here's what's imported into round 4 too. So the crowd, markets, allies, global businesses are starting to get worried, anxious. Isn't the headline we literally just saw earlier? Yes. So Trump keeps on the offensive, announces new tariffs against who? Countries doing business with China, like Germany, Mexico, starts a lot. The US firms start lobbying. The verdict: Trump is still landing loud punches, right? Pow, 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 boom, 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 pow, right in the kisser. But G is rolling with him and tightening his defense. Volatility rises, but there's no decisive winner yet. Oh my God, volatility. What does that mean? Got a bear market rally. We're in a bear market. Right? Take your blinders off. Don't be a stupid Sammy, stupid salmon. This was the headline back in February. Let's read it. As Donald Trump blows up the rule-based order. That seemed like a fantasy in February. Now it seems like that's the status quo, right? Blow it up, right? When in doubt, blow it up. Pew, pew, pew. Trump's blows are landing fast, but G isn't flinched. And maybe the world is losing confidence. This is where Besant spoke today. Trump's trades are shaking the pillars of the financial system. IMF, who are you? International Monetary Fund, Schmonetary Fund. Trump's Fed attacks have significantly impacted the market. That's Goldman Hatsius, right? Oh my goodness. He's like, yeah, I expect them to stand off, right? I expect the standoff for them to de-escalate. Well, who's going to go next? Literally, we're waiting for you, right? China's Beige Book CEO. U.S. needs to articulate what they want. Huh? Just a clear plan? That's right, because right now we're dabbing, buddy. We're spinning and dabbing. Trump exempts car makers from U.S. tariffs, right? Spin. Treasury auctions flash the biggest worry since 2021. Flash crash. Flash crash? CEOs are worried about, they're worried at they're the most gloomy going back to the financial crisis. Yeah. And here's the doozy. Trump and his team are under pressure, but China isn't showing any signs of impatience. Ultimately, Chinese leaders have to make a deal because otherwise they're not going to be able to deal with the U.S., and we want them involved. Trump added that Beijing would not be laying out the terms for a deal, and that the U.S., led by Besant, Howard Lutnick, and the president himself would be setting the deal, setting the tone. And it will be fair. It will be a fair deal for everybody. Trump weighs dropping down to 50. This is what China reported. What the Washington Journal or Wall Street Journal, actually reported was 50 to 65. They're like, yeah, it's 50. And you got to go first. Why? One side has to lower the levels first. They can't just announce it. They have to do it. It would be ideal if the scenario whereby one side lowers the announced tariff level and then the other reciprocates, meaning it's your turn, buddy. Time to blink. Or as Trump tariffs are hitting allies hard, is China making inroads? Yeah, because right now we're still suspicious of them. But Trump is making it pretty easy. The other resolution could drag on for a while. And Western investors are piling into boring, stinky gold. That's right, after a 3-year hiatus. So as I told you, Trump is now blaming the peace deal. It's his is very close, but he slams him on Crimea. I listened to this interview here. It's interesting from Besant. What he basically says is that both sides need to give up territory. That's what he's basically saying. He's like, yeah, you're gonna take the deal, we're gonna leave, right? We're gonna leave you on your own. This is what I think is gonna happen. There's gonna be an MOU or an announcement. It's like it's a penny stock now, right? Like literally, right? This beautiful stock here is called SPY, and the CEO is Donald Trump. Please make sure to read this read the description for full disclosure details, because this CEO, oh boy, he's off the rails sometimes. Right? He's loud, he's proud, and sometimes the stonks they get a big gap up, and sometimes they go mega down, mega crash. So you never know what's going to happen with SPY stock. It could go up massively or down. So please make sure to read the description for full disclosure details. Again, that CEO is a President Donald Trump. So if we get an MOU, like it's a mining company, that could be a memorandum of understanding. That could be enough for there to be, again, less of this and more of nice talks. So why? Because global trade deals normally take 1 to 3 years just for each tranche. Oh, 2 to 5 years, depending on political priorities in Washington and Kiev. Oh, so they just want the fighting to stop. Yeah, but CEOs are already pretty gloomy. And now the U.S. and South Africa are going to talk. India and Saudi Arabia decide to do more oil refineries. And Trump is like, you know what? I'm going to play nice. I'm a nice boy. See how nice I am? I'm going to be so nice. I'm going to be so happy with the deal. Yeah, it's called anchoring. Know exactly what he's doing. Wall Street strategists are like, no. Sell first, ask questions later. Lower those targets. They're too high. Lower them. Why? Odds of recession have gone up. So if you're watching all the way until now, I only have a few charts to leave with you. I would encourage you to come back at the opening stream if you want to find out more. The plan for tomorrow is, again, if in doubt, defer to the weekly note, which means forget about everything I just told you. Where are we on the chart? Yes, there's been news. What's the reaction to it? As of right now, I can tell you the weekly chart suggests exactly this. We got to see what happens next week. That's what. Well, we've got to see where we close first. We could be up 10 points, down 10 points. Could be red, could be at 1,000,000, could be at 0. Only half joking here. So if we close above the candle high, bullish engulfing. If we close at the bottom, bearish engulfing. We close in the middle. I don't even know what to call that. It's gonna look like a doji. So what are we gonna do? I don't know. Doji's indecision. Bullish engulfing is bullish. Bearish engulfing is bearish. So let's just get until the end of the week here. Oh my goodness, the month is still bearish until proven otherwise too. So let me remind you of one more quick thing. If you're still watching, this is a reminder to myself too. If in doubt, zoom out. We got a head and shoulders. This is a bearish pattern. We only have the first higher high. Not enough to print a higher high. Our bull and bear recipe suggests that if we're bullish or bearish, printing a higher high is not enough. We got to close above it. Claiming an area is not enough. So for us to close the weekly out, we have to be above 546 in order to be bullish. And then as we close out the monthly candle into next Wednesday, we got to get back above support. We got to get back above 547. So this is the part where it's going to be very important to, again, tune the noise out and focus on levels. We got to close out the 25th and the 30th. Everything else until then is noise. So like I said before, if there's not very many good decisions you can make, maybe this will be one of them, because the end of the world sale, there's only 7 days left. All right, with that said, I would really encourage you to go to our website if you want to find out more at thealgo.com. I haven't really showed you very many trades lately because honestly, I'm sitting in cash. My account is big up, mega big up, 18.65 now. So when I look here to what I'm holding all cash. The market can catch back up to me. I'm not super eager to be chasing this right now. Why? My my analysis tells me that, hey, it feels good. Right? Feeling good does not put money in your account. We have to make sure we understand where the charts are actually going. There's death on the chart, and we can look at so many more charts, right? The dollar, the 10-year note. This is an important one, actually. I would really encourage you to look at this one here too. So on the weekly, let's just delete everything for a second, because actually I think I had it in the help channel, but we'll just look at it here. What's really important is this W. So the W led to the decline, right? The drop of the 10-year note all the way down to 2020. But here's the challenge. We've not actually lost the 50 MA yet. So this 10-year note is what made Trump blink. And he's getting anxious here, right? If Powell doesn't lower on the 7th, he just holds steady, we're probably going to hover over the 50 MA. That's not what happened over here. So that W I just pointed out, it's not working. The W didn't fizzle, right? We came all the way back up. We actually printed a higher high. So high, higher high. Oh, low, higher low. Oh, so technically, like it's actually pointing up more, right? It's going like this. If we just remove that overshoot, we just go like this, roughly. We can see it's kind of pointing up. We can also see that here by looking at the moving averages, golden, right? Golden momentum. We'll look at the monthly, golden cross on the monthly, pivoting off of a 1990 area. Whoa. So golden cross pointing up, a pivot, or what used to be resistance is acting as support, and it goes all the way back to 1998. Isn't that great? No, this is pretty scary, but we can get through it day by day. So with that said, I encourage you to subscribe or go to the website, or I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks so much.